Okay, so thank you for that. Cody.
Hey guys, Cody Pearson. 1 foot in Albuquerque, 1 foot in Denver. This week I'm up in Denver, and I do technology commercialization and operations leadership and transformation. So really, what I bring is Memo Vemberby. I'll paste it in the chat. It's my own consulting group. So that's usually with early stage technologies or with small, medium sized companies that are either pre or post acquisition, doing alignments for acquisition or then realignment activities after companies merge.
Thanks, Cody. Annie.
Let me unmute myself first. Hi, good morning, everybody. Annie, CEO and founder of Core Community Housing. My why is significant impact. That's really where I'm at. In the sustainable real estate development is where I'm at. And formerly, I was a project manager, Scrum Master, PMP certified, and CSM certified in a former life. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you. And so Ben and Isla, you guys just came in, or Ilya, you guys just came in. What everyone's doing is introducing yourself, who you are, and what you do. And then you can also put your information in the chat. And I'm going to point out that not even I've put my stuff in the chat yet because I'm dealing with technical difficulties with YouTube. So I might come back and ask a couple people to repeat themselves just so we got that on here. But go ahead, Ben, you are up next, and then I'll go, Phil, Ben, and then Ilya. So go for it, Phil.
Oh, me. Oh, hi, Phil Wilton. I like to say all things strategic, but I'm getting more and more specific. So I help companies, startups, primarily. That's what I've been doing in the last few years with the National Science Foundation. I'm a National Science Foundation mentor. And I'm concentrating on strategic planning and why people don't always get it right. And
you're frozen.
My book, she's coming along really well. I'm really pleased, actually reading sections of the book, and we're really honing it down. And it's I'm looking very, very well at it. I'm very pleased with how it's moving along. So I've worked with many companies in many different fields, I guess like Alan. And it's amazing the amount of different companies I've worked in since I left the semiconductor industry. So that's me.
Thank you, Phil. All right, then Ben.
Hi, good morning. I am pretty new to the Albuquerque area. I moved here from the Seattle area about a year ago.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I have of late started a voiceover business doing commercials and narration and e-learning and stuff like that. So
cool.
My previous life, well, still a big part of it has been education. I've been a school administrator for 25 plus years, and until I get the voiceover thing up to that kind of full-time potential, I'm still holding on to some of that. So, but voiceover is where I'm going.
That's cool. God bless you, Phil. All right, Ilya.
Thanks, Adam. Hi, everybody. My name is Ilya. I run a software solutions provider out of San Francisco, California. For all intents and purposes, we're a mobile app and website development organization. We do a lot of stuff around custom software integrations and development as well. We service primarily small to medium-sized enterprises, as small as an entrepreneur with an idea, and as large as an organization that needs outstaffing services or help with ongoing projects that they just can't fill heads with. We've worked with companies requiring e-commerce support, selling products and services. We've worked with restaurants and brick and mortar businesses. And we've also worked with entrepreneurs that have ideas but have no idea what to do with it. And they approach us in a lot of cases with a napkin with some stuff written on it. And we take them through discovery phases or discovery workshops, that is. During those workshops, we help them in visualizing their idea, put it on paper, put it into full documentation, wireframes, and designs, and basically prepare them for development. My name is Ilya. I'm a CEO at Cider.
Thank you. I like that repeat you did at the end there. It's like, oh, and this is me again. That was that's good stuff. And we got to talk earlier this week too, and I appreciated the conversation we had. Did I miss anybody? I was switching back and forth trying to do a couple things there.
No, you got everyone.
All right, great. So the people that probably missed the recording were Alan, well, myself, but I don't really matter in this case. And who else? Alan and Nikki and Annie. I think you guys might have been missed on there, but I don't know. So Nikki, would you say again what your business is real quick? And Alan and Annie. So Nikki, go ahead.
Sure. Hi, I'm Nikki Mast, new to the area, recently launched Orange Hummingbird. I offer operations, back office, bookkeeping help, so you can offload the mundane tasks to me and focus on the bigger picture of running your company.
Great. Thanks, Nikki. Alan?
Yeah, I think you also missed Cody. So I'm Alan Ramos, and I'm a retired entrepreneur and attorney. I spend most of my efforts right now as a board member of the Albuquerque Theater Guild and an active member of the League of Women Voters. And I'm a pro bono muse.
Great. Annie?
Hi, my name is Annie. My company is Core Community Housing. It is real estate in sustainability, community real estate development.
Cool. Thank you, Annie. And Cody's also been on here a number of times, so you can look him up on Mimberby. Say that again.
Melma Vimberby is the name of my consulting group. I'll paste that in the chat here shortly. I've been doing projects between New Mexico and Colorado my entire career. Based in Colorado, and then sometimes I've been based in Albuquerque for years at a time too. So the background is technology commercialization, operations leadership, and management. And really what my sweet spot is connecting the dots between technology and business groups. And then also on the operations side, doing realignments pre and post acquisition for small and medium-sized companies.
Great. Thanks, Cody. Yeah, so there's a lot of neat connections that can happen there, which I think is pretty cool. And all right. So that kind of threw me off, the whole YouTube, like not going live. That's the first time that's messed up on me. So since I started doing it. So that's too bad, but that'll cost me some extra time later on and putting this back on YouTube. I got my own YouTube channel for this thing. So that was kind of a learning instance, just shifting that around. But I've enjoyed getting to do this and learning this up. But one of the reasons is because it's really connected to my why, which is that I'm trying to make it easier for people to really enjoy the things that they want to do, like just so people can live life more fully. But that's like when I'd say that's like my thing. There's also like this program in town called the Y Institute, and he was a dentist, and then he went ahead and did this Y Institute with Sinek. What's his first name? Simon Sinek? Is that right? Okay. Simon Sinek has his, most people know him from the TED Talk. That's where I know him from. But he kind of says like how why is really what sells things, and why we should be doing stuff is for our why, and then we do the how and then the what all that comes afterwards. And so the guy that started the Y Institute in Albuquerque, he went to one of Simon Sinek's workshops, and like after a couple months really sort of whittled down what his why was. And he thought, there's got to be a quicker way, you know? we're in the US, we do things this way. So he actually has like a system. And so if you look at Y Institute, he could even like help you narrow it down. And there's like 9 different whys in this. And one of them is mastery. And so apparently mine is mastery. And there's another one, simplicity, which is Miriam is. And, you know, other ones, but it's kind of funny. So that's another way you could find out your why. Do you guys, how have you guys figured out your why? And Ben, I'm going to call on you because I'm curious about your shift from, I was also a teacher. I taught many things over my 5 years, but the science was the one I kind of landed on in the end. I was really happy with. But why did you do teaching, and then why did you shift? And how are you figuring out your why in that case?
Well, as far as education goes, I was a journalist before that, and the company I was with in Seattle was going Chapter 11, and I wanted out. That's a longer story, but I really thought I call myself a convert in education because I went in thinking that, you know, I loved literature and I wanted to share that passion, et cetera. And I got in and realized that what I really enjoyed was working with kids, which is probably the better thing, because I think if you don't go in for kids, you're in for the wrong reason. And it doesn't matter what else you're passionate about. That's not enough to carry the day if you don't love the kids. But yeah. So I taught for several years and then moved into administration. I kind of felt that call to leadership. And my why has always been just about making opportunity and things better for kids and the staff that I work with, et cetera. But I've been doing it 30 years. And when I moved out here, to be real honest with you, I was in the most challenging circumstances I've ever been in my career. And I had some health concerns come up with, I already had kidney failure, and then I had some heart issues come up, and just decided that particular assignment and the work of leadership as a principal was over long term. I can't keep doing it because I think it's going to kill me. It's really stressful, and it's been hard on my health. So several months ago, I was kind of mulling things over, and so I'd looked at voiceover probably a decade before, and was talking to my wife about it, and she says, well, you ought to just do it. So I just bought the gear and got the coach and started into it, and now I've got a working studio out of my house and working on some narration projects. I'd say the why for me now is just the invigoration of something new. It's a very creative outlet. Yeah. As my mom always said, I've got the perfect face for radio, so that works out. And I enjoy the creativity and the community of the voiceover area, and I like being able to be independent, working from the house. And I still feel like I'm making a difference by meeting the needs of clients that need that voice work. So sorry, that was a long answer.
That was a good answer. Yeah, and people can talk for a while. I'll interrupt if I get too, like, oh, well, I want someone else to have a chance. But so don't worry about that. I'm pushy enough. But that's kind of neat because you had a lot of whys of like figuring out why your next step and everything. And I really like one of the things I enjoy is that it's interesting. It's like a new thing. And with my ADHD, like that's what really catches me. So it's like, oh, something new.
Yeah, there's enough dimensions. I think there's a misperception that for voice work, you just kind of talk into the microphone and everything's good. But everything from, the performance aspect of doing voice work down to the technical parts of the recording and mixing and, all that kind of stuff. There's a never ending opportunity to learn.
Yeah. Nikki, I want to pick on you now a little bit. So have you, like, if you were to give your prime why, like, how did you figure out your why for why you're doing your business?
Multidimensional, but mainly moving to Albuquerque and having to find a new job, but then the pandemic hitting and the traditional job search just being kind of thrown out the window and having to be a stay-at-home mom at the same time because the daycare was closed. So all of those factors kind of made me realize that I want to work, but I can't work in a traditional job setting, even if it is work from home, just with the whole circumstances of everything. So I figured I really enjoy getting people in a efficient and process manner of running their business. So why don't I offer that to whoever needs it? And it doesn't have to be one boss, one company. It can be whoever needs it. So I launched Orange Hummingbird. So gives me the flexibility, and I can, hopefully we won't be moving anytime soon again, but if we need to, I can just take it with me instead of having to do this whole rigmarole again. So
Yeah, that's kind of the cool thing. So the having your own business, you can take it with you wherever you are. And the funny thing about my business is I can take it wherever I am, but a lot of it has to do with being where I am. So
yeah.
whereas Mr. Valmer, I'm gonna get this. Cody, would you post it on the chat? Valmer Mimmelry. It's just a mouthful. But it's a cool name. Malmo Vimmerby. Okay. So Malmo Vimmerby, you're able to travel around because a lot of it's you're just talking to people, right? But do you do a lot of visiting in person?
No. I mean, I'm still this. It's a very, I think, old paradigm versus new paradigm with traveling and all of this. We have all the tools for remote collaboration. I helped Western Union insource 688 people at India, in a city in India.
Wow.
I never set foot, a lot of the teams were there before, I wrapped up the final 20% of it. And, I didn't set foot there until the entire thing was done. It was more of just a formality to finally go and see the end product. We have all the tools, we have all the capabilities. So, like me right now, we're talking with a lot of folks over, like Northern Europe. There's some things going on there. We won't travel, and right now we can't travel. So, yeah. Own the tools, look for better ways to do the tools, be conscious not to burn out on tools, on Zoom. Don't go on video unless you need to. Audio is fine. It's, self-care things and all of that. But, it's remote collaboration is the future.
Yeah, there's someone's hiring me right now to do some digital organizing for him. And one of the things that he's talking about, that burnout stuff with all that, he's got someone who's always got the latest gadget on his team. And he's just like, I want to get away from that. So, and they're strategists too. So that's kind of cool. But Cody, what's your why? How'd you figure out why you're in your business?
What I do is because I love taking ideas, and it was very, in the beginning, discovering that there were so many clever inventions at the labs that were there for commercialization. A better way to do something, a better way to do, the analogy I use, a better way to do a solar panel, that just weren't getting out there. And it just to be part of that bridge, to understand the technology and work with the engineers. My why is because I love learning about that. But then the bigger why is being able to be that liaison between that group and then the commercial area, and actually seeing something take traction and get to a level that actually benefits people, either by a product that provides better efficiencies or just business growth, industry growth, those types of things.
Thanks. Yeah, just for those for when you come to this group, you can always butt in if you have questions. I just like taking the lead at times. Janet, welcome to the group. Phil, welcome back again. You've got something in your mouth, so I won't bother you right now, Janet. Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we've not only lost internet, we've lost power completely.
Oh,
that's happening a lot. And apparently, whole power has gone down across the whole neighborhood.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We've been
Why is it happening?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I had someone cancel because they had power out their home and they weren't even warm enough. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna put you through that. So thanks for coming, Cody. So the what's your why then, Phil? Why are you putting so much effort into making this meeting and getting your business going and all that great stuff? It's got a driving
Well,
why,
actually,
apparently.
I'm actually on my mobile phone now, so
Yeah,
I hope that's coming through okay, because I know
yeah.
my cell signal is not that good around here. What's my why? I was thinking about that question, and I said I guess it's my whys are justifiable and inquisitive. So I ask why when I need something to be justified to me to make me understand, and I use why when it's inquisitive and I don't understand and I need to know. So there's two areas that I think why for me becomes important. Why do I do what I do? Much like what I think I heard Cody say just before he bowed. It's really a fun topic. Strategy is just really amazing. You get into so many different things. I've worked with not just technology companies. I've worked with two professors that had a ground remediation chemical business they wanted to bring to market. I've worked with a group of doctors in New York that had a trauma cap that you put on for trauma sports, so you could do immediate recognition of head injuries, so know whether you should move a client or not.
Wow.
I'm working with Annie at the moment on sustainable community and core community housing. I mean, who would ever think I'd be in real estate? I've worked with a professor from New York who's a music professor that wanted to put music to big data and decipher big data. And he actually achieved it with the European Space Agency and the satellite that they landed on that comet a couple of years ago. And he took all their data and put it into music so that you could decipher all the big data. And that's when I got involved with the National Science Foundation, because we actually went through the National Science Foundation and they funded that. So that was really good. I worked with the biggest drug rehabilitation company in New York City for the colored community. They own a lot of Manhattan properties and they wanted to restructure their organization. I mean, how can you get into all these kind of things if you're not into strategy? I mean, it's just amazing the amount of different businesses that I've worked with and got involved with. And
you could do voiceovers.
Huh?
You could do voiceovers for their books.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that come out of this is, and I said it towards the end of last week, I don't know if you remember, I do these regular reviews with Harvard on case studies.
Oh yeah.
And you get to learn about more companies and more businesses. We did a case study, and I've actually featured it in my book on Tessai, which is a Japanese company that runs the bullet trains, and we did a case study on how they could improve their efficiencies, and it was amazing. And I was so impressed with how they managed it that I actually used them as an example in my book on how you plan strategy. So it's just a fun subject. I know a lot of people think it's boring.
Yeah.
But
well, actually, Ben nodded his head something about, about that bullet train, Ben?
No, I was just kind of probably nodding in interest of what he was talking about. I'm aware of the bullet train. My sister and her husband have lived in Japan for a number of years, but I was taken with the idea that any kind of an American group was doing a study on efficiency in a Japanese operation, because that they've got things pretty tight. That must have been really interesting to work through that and kind of do that study.
Yeah, well, it is. With regards to bullet trains, I've traveled around the world quite a few times. I've been lucky in my life because I was in the semiconductor industry. So I've done the bullet trains in Japan. I actually did the maglev train in China, which is awesome. From Shanghai airport to Shanghai in 8 minutes at 400 kilometers an hour on a maglev train is absolutely stunning. You sit there in amazement. I mean, it really is. And I've done the bullet trains, or not as fast as the bullet trains, across Europe as well. But the Tessai, you know, everybody has this thing about Japan's very efficient at doing a lot of things. They had real big problems because when the trains come into the station, they have like 8 minutes to service the whole train. 8 minutes. And that wasn't working. It was known as a very dirty job and not looked at very as socially acceptable. So they had a lot of problem actually trying to get through that. And the guy that took it over the company, or was appointed as the CEO, actually changed it around magnificently. He got this 8 minutes down to precise seconds on getting this bullet trains in and out on time. It was amazing.
Oh, that's cool. Annie, what you've been working with Phil. What's your why? Why did you decide to work with Phil?
Well, let me put it this way. The exercise of what is my why has been a lifetime exercise. Let's just
That's
put it
great.
that way, right? You know, and at any given point in time, that changes, right? And I've done this exercise sort of in a 7-layer, it's like a 7-layer cake, as I like to call it, right? Because you go 7-layer deep, right? And you really don't get to it unless you've done it in a 7-layer depth kind of thing, right? Because you do your first why, and then you answer that why, and then you answer that why, and then you go 7-layer deep. Then you get to your bottom why.
Yeah.
Why your real why is 7 layers deep, right? And really for me, the bottom line is I got to this because this is a lifetime exercise. And really the bottom line is every time I do this exercise, it's really about significant impact. And I've come to the conclusion that every time I do this, the bottom answer that I get to, no matter what, is I'm looking for that significant impact in life. No matter what, that's really where I get to, right? The first why is, okay, why am I doing X? And then when I answer that, why am I doing that? And then why am I doing that? And the bottom line is I'm looking for that significant impact every time I'm asking for my why. So at the end of the day, right, why am I pursuing X? Why am I pursuing Y? Why am I pursuing Z? And so forth and so on, right? So when you're young, your first question is, okay, why am I getting an education? Because my parents told me so, right? And then you go to the next step and you say, okay, why do I want to make more money? And why do I want to get a better career? And why do I want to pursue this? And why do I want to pursue my certification? And when I get that, then what's my next step? And what's my next step, right? Why do I get my PMP? Why do I get my bachelor's degree? Once I've achieved all of that, what's my next goal? And what's my next goal? I got my bachelor's degree. I got my PMP certification. I got my CSM. I've got my big clients. I mean, I've worked for Bank of America. I've worked for Abbott Laboratories. I've had that client. I mean, I've had big clients. I've had clients that are huge, and I've accomplished a lot in life. Now that I am where I'm at, what's my next goal? I mean, I've achieved everything that I've achieved. I've traveled the world. I've had clients in Germany. I've had clients in London. I've had, I mean, what else is there to do? I've traveled.
What else is there?
What else is there, right? So in the end, I've made 6 figures. I've made $150,000. I've made this kind of bonus. At some point, you're going to run out of things that, what is my why, right? So then at the end, I'm looking for significant impact. And I started this company because I want significant impact. And guess what? I'm looking for making a difference with people, planet, and profit. Now I've combined all of those. That's a lifetime of accomplishments is what I'm looking for.
That's that triple bottom line, huh?
That's a triple bottom line. Someone came to me and said, Annie, you know, what's your perfect engagement? I said, you're not going to attract me with money. I said, money isn't going to be the end all be all for me. I'm sorry. A 6-figure salary, that's not attractive for me. Been there, done that. You know, it's like, tell me something else. That's not appealing to me anymore because I've already been there. You know, you're not gonna, a challenging project, guess what? I've already been approached by Abbott Laboratories to do the impossible. I've done the impossible. What's next? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you know, I've taught entrepreneurs road mapping your business. Okay, what's next? You know, I've taken the PMP exam and I've passed that exam on the first take. What's the next challenge for me? So I did this project with Phil because guess what? I've never done this before. And it's like, this is something I've never done before. Is Phil and I running into challenges I've never done before? Absolutely. Things I'm scratching my head going, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. But is that something that's something I've never run across before? You're absolutely right, I haven't. But it's one of those things I keep continuously learning. But what's my why? It's a significant impact. Guess what? We're trying to achieve a real estate development that achieves that net zero carbon, that we're trying to save a planet. That to me has meaning. It has meaning that you can't put a dollar value on. That's my why. It's saving the planet for future generations. How do I put a dollar value on that? I can't, because it's saving the planet, it's significant impact, right? That's what it is, right? And I'm trying to teach future generations that, hey, this has significant impact.
Alan, I'd say that you also kind of have a similar, like, you're all about impact, aren't you? Is that how you came about your why?
Right, that's how I came about my why, right? I do mission trips because I have significant impact in somebody who's less fortunate. I volunteer my time because to me, that's significant impact.
That's right.
I don't have to get paid to do these things.
Yeah. Alan also volunteers his time with, are you still doing the reading thing?
No, I've cut back a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, I'm focused on the Albuquerque Theater Guild and the League of Women Voters. But you know, listening to everyone and I've thought about this and I realized that I've done everything backwards in my life. The one word I use to describe my life is serendipity. So I've always asked, why not? I never thoughtfully went into any business or profession. Opportunities presented themselves and I just took them and I jumped in with 100% of my energy. And then if I started to be disillusioned, I would ask why. And I would discover, well, I don't have a really good reason. I went and did something else. And probably the most significant decision I ever made without questioning anything was when I was 49, I decided that I should get a degree before I died. And somebody suggested law school. And I thought, that sounds like a good idea. And I enrolled in law school and I set out on the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, 4 days a week or 4 nights a week for 4 years. And I realized that had I thought it through and asked why, I wouldn't have done it because I would have concluded that it wasn't possible. So I ended up with a law degree. I wasn't planning to practice. I wasn't going to take the bar exam. Somebody talked me into taking it. I took the bar exam and passed it. And then 2 years later, I became a lawyer because I was getting bored at the job that I was doing where I made the most money I've ever made in my life. But I didn't enjoy the work. So I became a lawyer. I took an 85% cut in income to become a lawyer. It took me about 4 years to build my income back up to 6 figures. And then I was managing partner of a law firm and decided to go back to acting, which I had done in my 20s, and left law and went to LA to pursue an acting career. So I took about 100% cut in income, and did that for 3 years, and then realized that's truly serendipity, and that if I stayed in LA, I was going to run out of money. And I moved to Albuquerque and decided, you know what? I'm in my 70s. Retirement probably sounds like a pretty good thing to do. And so here I am. But I never asked the why. It was kind of an implied why not.
Yeah.
And it made no sense. I mean, my life has made no sense whatsoever. But it's been pretty full. I don't have a bucket list. I got to do the things I wanted to do. And I'm just kind of peaceful. I live a virtually stress-free life. I do this because I enjoy it. I enjoy meeting folks and I enjoy the interaction. You know, Phil and I had an hour-long conversation not too long ago. I truly enjoyed that. I enjoy
That's good.
the mental stimulation. So that's kind of my why and why not.
Yeah.
Alan, I'm amazed at the similarities between us, because I didn't do my degree. I didn't do my degree till late in life, and everybody told me. I remember 20 years ago or more, when I got a job with Alcatel in the UK, and one of the guys that I was at this, what do you call it, an outplacement agency. I don't know if you know what they are over here. I think they're the same. And I got this job, and we went and celebrated, and he said to me, Phil, you need to go and get a degree. And I said, you're right, I do. And I didn't do it. And, you know, it wasn't until I almost finished traveling around the world internationally that I went and did a degree on international business. and I'm really pleased I did do it. It was a challenge. And like you, it took years of getting it done. But it's just, I do wish I'd done it earlier. I've done everything back to front, but I've been reasonably successful. I'm not too bad off.
No, good for you.
Janet, to have your voice in here since you've shown up again. And thank you for being in a seat that's not moving.
That's why I waited, Adam. That's why I waited, because I was in the car again.
So you could tune into the YouTube channel when you're doing that. Well, if it was working.
Oh, okay, I will. I was not aware of that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, hopefully it works again too, because today it didn't work. So, you know, I got my trials there. But anyway, Janet, how'd you figure out your why for the business you're in?
I think it started when I was 4 years old. Goes that far back, and I remember being in the house and looking outside of my screen door and seeing kids walking to school, and they looked happy, and they looked like and I saw them walking home, and I said, wherever they're going is where I want to be. And so I think back then, and then also my dad was a house painter, and a scaffold broke underneath him, and he fell 20 feet. And he was not in my home from the time I was a year and a half till 4, and he came home in a full body cast. He had over 36 surgeries. And so I learned very young about the need to help others. And I think that's why I was very conscious about not making fun of others, and realizing about disabilities, the ones we can't even see. And a funny story on that is that my dad was unconscious for about 6 months. And when he woke up, this is back in the day, and he had to teach himself how to walk and talk again. There was no physical therapy. There was nothing. They told me never walk or talk. And he said, yeah, I will. And he taught himself in a year. He was back walking in a year, and he was a Golden Glove boxer in the service. So he did his moves, and he put up a thing and worked at himself and held himself up. And he lost his hearing in one ear. And so we knew to always talk to one ear. And at 60 years old, his hearing came back. He woke up literally one morning and he could hear out of that ear. And that's why they realized there was nerve damage in the brain, and it repaired itself. It took 30 years, but it repaired itself. So I realized that you can't give up hope. You always have to help for others. You have to hope that you made the best choices. And that's I think where it is now, and now I'm a retired teacher and I work as a counselor.
Yeah.
And now that we're doing telehealth, I'm looking at, I can do it around the globe now. So I'm looking forward to maybe doing that.
That's exciting. Yeah. So the retired or the previous teacher thing is a partial theme today. Ben
Okay.
Ben also had that. He does voiceovers now, and
Okay.
yeah, and it's reaching out. Go ahead, Alan. I think you have something to say.
Well, you just totally pales next to your story, Janet, but we adopted our daughter. She came into our home at 6 months when I was just finished my first year of law school. And I didn't realize how divorced I was from the family until after I had taken the bar exam. And my daughter's now 4. And we're walking out the front door to go to dinner. And she turned around and said, "Are you going too?" And I realized for her whole life I'd been in law school. I was the guy in the back room studying all the time, and I had not been part of her life at all. And it was, it's that kind of thing that shocks you into recognizing how you've been going through life. And I mean, I did well in law school, but it took that 100% commitment to do well. But there was a cost to it that I didn't even see. And it seemed to have worked out okay, but it's like you go through life and you're just not aware of all of the things that are around you.
That's why I always encourage kids to get their education young. I know they say, oh, wait till you're older and you have more money and things, but I think it's easier when you're young before you have family and commitments and responsibilities. There's something to be said for being a carefree college student, as much as that is possible, versus having the responsibility of taking care of a family and doing education. It's hard. It's a choice.
If I had thought through any of my life, I probably would have done that. But it's almost, my life has been an accident. So,
Well, that's why you brainwash kids from the time they're born, that not if they're going to college, but when they go to college. And I think there's a lot to that subtle brainwashing. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of brainwashing. It's meant to help others.
My ex-wife's got a PhD in education. So our daughter grew up thinking that college was just an absolute extension. I mean, she never thought anything other than she was going to college. And she did well in college, but it was like, and my son, who was 15 years older, he barely made it through high school. In fact, he got gift grades because he's a very charming guy, but he went to college at night with a family while he was working and managed to get his degree. So, everybody finds their path, and I guess you just have to be ready to do what it is you do.
You're talking about college and stuff, and it's interesting because I don't know if Phil went to college for your strategy stuff, but Ben, I'm pretty sure you didn't go to college to do voiceovers.
No, but I do participate in regular training, and that's not cheap. It's the same investment, actually. If you kind of think about it at an hourly rate. But I mean, there are places that have extended, it's not college, but week-long or month-long kind of things. But that tends to be a little more income driven for them, as opposed to when you work with independent coaches, it's a little more custom made and they're kind of specific to your outcomes. But yeah, I have a doctorate in educational leadership, and I finished that up a few years ago. And now as I move into this other piece, I know that it has value, but it's not directly relevant. And so you think, damn, that was a lot of money for something that I'm not using to leverage my career the same way that I had intended when I started the program.
Yeah. Do you use it at all though? And because I have a master's in elementary education, which is one of those things like, so where do I mention that, or how do you use that? Have you used that at all with your particular?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. So my doctorate work was in leadership development. And so that's always relevant, whether it's for myself or somebody that I'm working with. The educational part comes in with things like e-learning and long form narration, because I'm able to provide an added dimension for a client. If they've designed a course, you know, you have to check your role because I'm just the voice talent. But if they've designed a course and they're open to feedback, you can provide some thoughts on revision or augmentation or whatever to better their product. So, but honestly, I think for those of us that have been in education, the skills that you use there are so multifaceted. They come into play in everything. And really at the heart of it all, it's about relationship, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, James Comer said back in the 70s that no significant learning happens outside of a significant relationship. Well, as I listen to all of us, that's true in every part of what we're doing. It's always relationship driven.
That's cool. And that's one of the reasons Annie's building her homes, is so people can have a nice relationship with where they live in. Right, Annie?
Yep.
Great answer. I'm gonna not exactly wrap up here, but I got a few things towards the end. I'm gonna share my screen again. Go back to this guy. That is not what I thought I was gonna do. Where's it at? Where's it at? There it is. Okay. So welcome attendees, respond to the topic, some discussion and events. And so I'm not sure if this events thing is that helpful at the end of these times, and it takes up a good chunk of our time talking. So I'm not sure if this is the best use. So I'm gonna do it today, but I don't know if I'll do it in the future, and I'll ask you guys feedback here in just a moment. But Wednesdays, there's 1 million cups ABQ. Ben, have you been to that yet?
Yes.
Sorry, I had to unmute. No, this is the first event locally that I've gotten involved with. I've only recently got into the meetups and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is a really cool thing. You can also find it on Meetup. You can find it on the same Meetup that you found mine on, actually. They sort of sponsor my account on Meetup, and it's been pretty nice. But 1 million cups meets every Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock, and you get to hear from other people that have new businesses, and then discussion groups, and then afterwards you have kind of breakout groups that are kind of like this, that you get to meet people in a smaller group. Alibi has this events page thing. I don't know. I didn't do research on this anymore. I've just thrown it on here. But Alibi is a local paper that has been really nice and had different things that they promote. Happy Neighborhoods Project. This is international, so this isn't a local thing, but they have things all the time. And I've been to a couple of them, and they're a pretty nice group. I've also been to Network After Work, which is also national, but that one's a lot more straight-laced, or, you know, whereas Happy Neighborhoods is, well, they're about being happy, I guess. So a little more freedom to be interactive. The relationships there are kind of more fun. Let's see here now. So, and next week, Friday Flow is, what are you putting off? So you talk about that with your business. So if you have any topics too, I'm happy to bring them in. I've got a list of stuff that I could just keep on throwing on here. Phil, you mentioned an idea for some topics, which was that Harvard thing. Was it Harvard?
Yeah, Harvard. Yeah. So when I do these case studies with Harvard, I've built up a little library of them. I hoard all my strategic stuff and all those kind of things. Yeah. So if anybody needs any papers on business, you know, feel free to ask, because I've got tons of stuff that I can. I've probably got something that will cover what you're looking for. But my idea was, you know, I do these things with Harvard, so they pose these case studies, and they send them to you beforehand, and you have to spend some time reading through them, and then you have to digest the information they're giving you, and then you go on to their Harvard site. It's through Zoom, and they have two professors there, and they start banging out these questions to everybody and say, well, what do you think about the underlying question, and what do you think about how the person is doing X, Y with the business, or, you know, whatever the topic or response or whatever the topic is about that business. and you go through this hour session. And for me, it's really interesting because I like to see, am I still in the game? Am I still thinking about things and about business the way most people do, or do I think about things differently? And it's really interesting. So I thought to myself, well, I've got all these case studies. Why don't we do that locally? And you know, if people are interested, I could send out case studies. We could set up Zoom and then come back in. And I've been through a number of sessions, so I could probably start it off and say, well, you know, ask the questions for the ones that I've been through.
Yeah.
And wonder if people are interested in doing that kind of stuff.
So you're thinking about starting your own Zoom session doing this kind of thing?
Yeah, if people are interested in the case studies, I think that'll be kind of good, because what you get is you get probably something that's not related to your business or your knowledge, not knowledge, your business or your experience, but your knowledge of business you apply to resolving the problem in the case study.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see how different people apply their business knowledge to resolve those problems.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So if you did that, we might be able to add another event in there. Like, what's this thing that Phil's doing? But maybe bring that up at the next 1 Million Cups too. See, put that around a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, let's take a poll here. How out of the people that are here, who's interested in doing that?
Well, I'm interested.
I'm interested.
Ben's on board. The question I have is, will I make the time to also do the background stuff? I think it's really cool because that's one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I get to dabble in other businesses and everything. So getting to see how that works,
I'll tell you what, Alan. Alan, I'll give you a ring and we can see how we can launch this off.
Okay.
That's great. Started here.
And sorry, the gentleman that's just joined in, that's just come into the region.
Ben.
Ben, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
so Ben.
That'd be like being back in grad school.
Yeah. So can we have a contact detail from you?
So on the chat, you put in your name. Do you have a LinkedIn possibly, Ben?
Yeah, I'll put that in there.
You can also send it to him privately if you don't want to put it on there. So
I'm okay with
So
that.
what's your last name, Ben?
Talbert, Talbert.
Okay.
Great.
And, I'll throw that in here in just a second.
Cool. So another thing I have a question about is the events page. I mean, and I just now, it was helpful for talking to Ben about other things going on. But I'm not too sure if that's a good use of our time or not. So that's something I'm thinking about. Just real quick, thumbs up or thumbs down as far as, because the other thing, and this is the hard part, is like, it might be nice, but is it more important than saying like having an ask at the end or some action that, because it's nice to talk, but then afterwards, you know, how can we act on what other people are doing, you know, get involved with what they're doing. So I'm trying to feel out whether that's a better way to end it or not. So
you could put the events in the chat that we get the information. But I like your thought about the ask of
something to do.
What can we put? How can we put this to use?
And it's on brand because I'm all about action. So, all right. With that, joyfully spark return on investment, everybody. If you'd like that to be me or anyone else in the group to talk up about those things, I encourage you to do that. That's my action ask there. And have a great week and keep the sparks flowing.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so that's about where I end the recording for those still on here. Make sure I save this chat. I think it'll be saved because I'm recording. Okay, that'll be good. That's pretty exciting, Phil. I think that'll be neat to do, and especially if we start you start getting people that are like kind of a group together.
Yeah.
Check with check with Eric too, because he's the one that sort of heads up the meetup, and so you could kind of make it another business meetup. Thanks, Annie. She said ask is good on there. All right, cool.
Yeah, I will do. I've been thinking about it for a little while. So, and I don't even know if I could do it as well as Harvard professors, but
you do it.
Yeah. But I've got the advantage that I've been through a lot of the case studies, so I know what questions they've asked, and so most of them there isn't a one fit answer that makes it work. And because people come up with different ideas, but I'm always been 80% in the right area or ballpark that everybody else has been in, and I am actually surprised about the number of like the other 20% are really just not. They're kind of an opposite to how everybody else thinks, and that's that for me that's strange, but it's interesting because you hear their point of view. They justify their point of view of why they do that business differently.
Yeah. It's kind of, that sounds like it would be a cool thing to talk about. I'm looking here. I'm clicking on Ben's thingy thing, and I'm finding that he gave Cody's LinkedIn. And when I put Ben Talbert in our looky here, okay, there's Ed Ed. Okay, that must be him. So I'll send you his LinkedIn. Here, I'll put it on chat. Yeah, I looked him up, and this is actually his LinkedIn account, as opposed to Cody's LinkedIn account. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it looks like our power's just come on. Now that
That's
you've
great.
closed it.
Full circle.
Now that you're closing out the session.
Bye, Annie. Bye, Phil.
Hi.
Bye.
Glad that I got to see the power come on.
Bye, guys.
Well, I just heard my printer start up, and I went, oh.
That's great. Have a great week, guys.
Okay. Thank you.